making this series of movies about the fast weight loss diet because we're all experts on it, and we all have done a great many diets, and we've also simply become our own nutritionists. And Ron's nodding. And Ron, you were telling me that you've, in the last year or so, lost about 25 pounds?
Yeah, maybe in the last 2 years I've taken that off. I've kept it off in the last year.
Right.
Yeah, it was, for me, it was kind of easy. I just cut out some things. I kind of shifted them around and I just modified, what time of the day I eat, and that's about it. It was kind of simple.
So you didn't do like a formal diet, like you didn't read a diet book and...
I have done that in the past, and that's helped, but what works for me is specifically not eating late at night, because I used to eat, like real late at night, and I was a big ice cream guy, and being from Philadelphia, we eat a lot of ice cream here. And I could eat like easily a pint of a Haagen-Dazs every day. Plus
That's my brand.
There you go. Plus a few.
It's not Haagen, it's my Bob.
That's right. Plus a few tasty cakes, side order tasty cakes thrown in at the same time. So basically what I did was, instead of having all that ice cream every day, I said, okay, I'll have some ice cream if I want it just on the weekend. And the same thing with the sweets, because I have a terminal sweet tooth. But what I did was just kind of said, okay, look, I'm gonna not cut all this stuff out altogether. If I want it, I'll have it just on the weekend, and I can go crazy. If I really want to go crazy, I'll do that on the weekend. And that in itself helped quite a bit.
Good idea.
Well, what you're telling me is you didn't feel good at work the next day when you ate all that stuff late at night.
Well, not only that, I didn't like the fact that it was the largest pants I had ever worn in my life, and they were becoming a chore to get into. So,
but when you said to yourself you could do it on the weekend, what you meant was that you didn't want to go to work feeling that way.
Right.
Like if you could sleep late and kind of hide into your house for a while when you felt bad after binging, then you would do it, but you didn't want to, go to work after binging.
Well, there's something else I want to say about what Ron is saying, which is another really important thing with weight control, is that he's talking about a set point.
Right.
So you had a set point that you weren't willing to go above.
Right. Sure, I just could have kept going.
That's right.
And something inside me just said, no, that's enough. That's enough. Right. You don't need to go any beyond this point.
Right.
So I listened to it, and I just decided to,
just add yourself into
take a different course of action.
One of the things we do in our lessons is teach people how to change the set point or erase them when it's necessary.
Yeah. That's right. Why don't we do that right now?
Great.
Okay? So, Keely, go through the procedure. Do you have to assess where your set point is first?
Let me think. I haven't done it in a while. I just say what I've done that's worked in the past is I visualize the set point that I want. I visualize my ideal weight.
Okay. Let's take yours. What's your ideal weight for you?
My ideal weight is around 120.
And what's your weight now?
At 128.
Okay. So you're going to visualize yourself at 120?
No, I'm going to lower my set point so that I won't go below, say, 115.
Okay, so I'm lowering my set point. Well, my ideal weight...
See, right now, my set point, I'm going to test what my set point is right now, and it's around 125. So I want to lower it.
That's interesting because my set point is around 125. And
yeah.
I'm 5'11" and I weigh 145.
Right.
So I can lose weight very easily because my set point is way below. My ideal weight is 140.
Right.
right now. It might go up if I build more muscle. Okay, have you...
I get a lot of support when I'm 120. People tell me I'm too skinny, but that's how I feel good, and that's how my body feels best.
Okay. Does your boyfriend tell you you're too skinny?
He's always telling me I'm too skinny.
So...
He likes my body. He thinks I look good, so he'll be okay with whatever I am.
Okay, okay, now show us, I want to watch your finger as you get your set point to 120.
Yeah, I've been lowering it, and that's why my finger's still up there.
Okay, so the up finger means that it's not quite there yet?
Yeah.
It'll lower when it gets there.
Yeah. Actually, I just lowered it to 110.
Oh boy, okay.
That's good.
Ross, do that on camera now and hold your hand up. And
Yes.
do you think you could do first of all, test what is your ideal weight?
What is my ideal weight?
And start mentioning numbers and see where you get a signal.
Okay. 50, 51, 52.
Are you talking about 150 or?
He's talking about kilograms.
No, excuse me. I'm talking in kilos.
Okay, that's okay.
That's
No
fine.
problem. So 51 kilos. I didn't know we were going to do this movie on the metric system. I would have brought my table of, conversion table.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Well, you're in Italy, so I guess you guys, that's what you use the metric system. What did you get? 52, 53, 54?
I get 55.
So your ideal weight is 55 kilos. And what is...
I think
and
think it's too much.
Okay, test this. What is my set point above 55 kilos?
What is my set point above?
Is
In other words,
my
what's the point that you won't let yourself get higher than? What's the stopping point?
Okay.
You mean lower then? What's your weight that you won't go below?
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it above 55 kilos? Do you get yes on that?
No.
Okay, so your set point's fine. It's below your ideal weight.
Yes.
Okay, which is probably why what is your weight now?
Now it's around 54.
So your set point, anyway, we've taught people how to do their set point now.
the other thing, the other part of the set point is that you have to see what weight you won't go above, and you can lower that also. See, mine right now is it 130? 130. My set point, my upper set point is too high.
What's your upper set point?
It's like 132. Yeah, 132. And I never like to be over 130.
Well, I just lowered my upper set point to 150 from 160. It was 160 and I lowered it to 150. And Ross, test what your
I already did it while Kiri was speaking. It's 78 kilos.
Okay. And why don't we try lowering that upper set point to 60 kilos? Just now say I'm lowering my upper set point to 60 kilos.
I am not lowering it because it's already 57.
Oh,
57 kilos.
Oh, it's 57. Okay.
57, yes.
I thought you said 70.
Yeah, excuse me.
Okay, 57. 57's fine.
Huge.
Okay, 57 is fine. Okay, Ron,
Yeah.
what about you?
I'm right at it. 160 is what I weighed yesterday, and that's my set point. But my ideal is 155, and my upper end, it was 170, and I lowered it to 165.
Okay, so lower your set point to 150.
You want me to lower it to 150 from 150? If it's at 160 right now, to 150?
You want your low set, the weight you won't go below should be 150.
Okay.
I'm lowering.
Well, you won't go above, I thought we were doing.
Yes, but we changed over to what we're not going to go below right now.
Oh, I'm
That's what
definitely
we're
not going
doing
to go
with
below
it.
150. Yeah, I did that.
Okay, so your lower set point is 150. Your upper set point is 160, right?
I'm right at 160 right now.
Make that the weight you won't go above.
I said, well, I don't want
Make-
to go above 165.
Okay, fine. Good. Well, then this is how you do your set point. People can do it the way they want, and this is how we do it.
You know, of all the things I've ever done with weight control, doing my set point has been one of the, sometimes I think it's the most effective thing ever, because every time I adjust it, I get a major result in the following weeks.
Really?
Major. Like I either discover a new way of nourishing myself or a new exercise modality or something that really makes a positive change.
Well, how
and
often-
makes life easier for me.
How often do you remember to adjust it?
Only maybe once or twice a year.
Why?
Well, because my weight is usually pretty normal and stable.
I see. Okay, well, I'm going to test my set point in a few days, and I'll see where it's gone to, and I'll adjust
In the
it.
beginning, I adjusted it all the time. I was always looking at it. Every day I was looking at it and checking it.
Well, maybe I'll check it again tomorrow then. I haven't been doing much with it, and I'm glad that you brought it up.
I'm going to do the same. I haven't been doing it much lately. I haven't done it in a long time.
Okay, well, great.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we could all pay attention to. The thing is, see, we're all skinny, and we're trying to help people who aren't, and that's why we're making this movie. Okay. You were talking about rhythm, Ron. You were saying,
What?
yeah, you were saying that you just stopped eating late at night.
Yes.
That is not a function of diet, it's a function of rhythm. It's when you eat. You discovered that when you eat can do as much for you as what you eat.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just found as a rule, if when possible, not to eat after, for myself, 8 o'clock at night. And that, because I get up pretty early, so, I don't want that sitting in my stomach. If I'm drowsy and I have to go to bed, right after I eat, that's not a good thing. I found that for myself. I mean, I think in general that doesn't work for most people as well, but I know that definitely doesn't work for me.
Well, this is how we control metabolism. We control metabolism with rhythm. There are 4 things that we use to control metabolism, and one of them is rhythm. 2 of them are diet and exercise. One of them is rhythm. Does anybody remember what the other ones are? Keely, do you have the list of them up there?
In what you ingest and what you expel.
Oh yes, the other one is pooping. And also things like, when I wake up in the morning, I massage my gums with my toothpaste, and I'm expelling toxins when I do that. I don't use any toothpaste. I just use my toothbrush, and sometimes I use my vibrating toothbrush, and I just expel whatever's built up overnight. I also brush my tongue.
You still brush your skin?
And I brush my skin every morning, another way of eliminating. Because when you brush your skin, you're stimulating your lymph nodes, and your lymph system expels things faster, which is one of the functions of your lymph system. So these are the 4 things that control metabolism: diet and exercise, expulsion, and rhythm.
Rhythm.
Yeah, rhythm. So now that we've said this, we're going to focus on one of those things in this call. And the thing we're going to focus on is everybody's favorite, which is diet. And for us, diet includes everything we ingest. So it's not just food, it's air, it's supplements, it's vitamin pills, it's mineral supplements, it's colloidal mineral drinks, it's psyllium husks, it's coconut, ground coconut or coconut water. It's
Well, non-physical things too.
like how people tell,
Yeah, yeah,
the people that you're with can be toxic and cause you to put on weight.
right. Or you don't have a support system, or your environment.
Well, one thing that I have found, like I've been trying to help Franny lose weight. And one thing I've discovered about Franny is that Franny allows people to interfere with her rhythm. Keely, I think you should disconnect and reconnect yourself.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Okay. That's okay. Anyway, and she'll make herself available to somebody when she should be napping. And also, there's something in her rhythm that causes her to be off balance in a way that then causes her to not like exercising. And I'm not sure I have a complete handle on that. But if I'm going to ever help her, I'm going to have to get a handle on it. That's all I can say. I'm going to really have to get a handle on it. So, and so shall she, of course, but, it'd help her if I did. Keely, you look good now.
There you go.
And so now, the thing is that with diet, like we were talking about the diets that you've all done, and you've done, among the bunch of us, there's a whole bunch of different diets that we've done. We've done raw foods, we've done macrobiotics, we've done the Pritikin diet, we've done the drug diet, we've done the
Food combining, Atkins,
Atkins. Fit for life.
South Beach.
Fit for life, South Beach. Yeah, we, like, among the bunch of us, see, and of course I had 75 people on staff, and I knew all about all the diets they were doing, because all we ever did all day was share about our health. And so among all of us, we did everything. We had health workers who were our assistants, who did naturopathy, chiropractic, acupuncture. I had a lot of DOMs who were my assistants, chiropractors who were my assistants. I used to go to the chiropractic fitness center every morning and get chiropractic adjustments, which they did gratis because I was their teacher. And then I did Pilates afterwards, and I did massage there, and all kinds of things that they offered in the fitness center. And we've been members of health clubs and so on. But there's something that all diets have in common, which is that diets all involve eliminating things, and sometimes, usually, they involve adding things. That's what every diet, no matter what it is, it can be so different, but it's going to tell you to eliminate something, or it's going to tell you to add something. Yes? We all with it? We all, all together on that? And those are our two weapons. And if we just translate those words, what we get is we get fasting and supplementation. Fasting is an important word because this is the fast weight loss diet. You have these two weapons, fasting, supplementation. I was starting to say the word fasting is very important because this is the fast weight loss diet. And the thing that I'm afraid nobody is going to want to hear is that they're going to have to fast. Because the most important weapon that I know is to eat absolutely nothing. Are you guys with me on this?
Well, yeah, then rhythm comes into the picture.
Right. Because when you eat nothing, everything normalizes. Now, how do you want to relate this to rhythm, Keely?
Well, you can fast for 5 minutes, Fasting may be a matter of just not eating, one particular thing. Like I'm fasting from, bread or carbs or, sugar or whatever.
Yes. Okay. But also, let's go back to what you just said. You can fast for 5 minutes.
But also, I have found that my most the times that I've been most successful with weight control involved real fasting. Either the fast once a week for a year, or for many years, I just fasted every Friday or Saturday on grapes, and I ate nothing but grapes for 24 hours. And I loved doing that. And that...
It's fun, isn't it?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's wonderful, really.
And whenever I've suggested that to someone, they love it too.
If they do it.
When they do it.
But sometimes when you suggest it to people, they don't love it. They go, oh, no, I don't want to do that, you know.
No, I have never had that experience. Every single person I've ever suggested to flips over the idea. Either they love grapes anyway, or it never occurred to them that they could do that. And I've never met a person who had any problem with it.
Okay, well,
not fun.
you may be about to meet some, because when people here see this movie, they may write in saying, you know. But let's go back to what would a 5-minute fast look like? And I just had a picture of it. Let's say that you have this amazing meal in front of you and you're eating with a bunch of friends and they all start. A 5-minute fast would be you don't start for 5 minutes. You sit there and watch them eat without eating anything.
Either that, or or you just slow down in between and you stop for 5 minutes, which would be a big breakthrough for me, because I tend
stop
to
for 5 minutes.
Once I get going, I don't stop.
That's interesting. Okay, you could stop for 5 minutes. What would it look like? What do you?
It could also look like not having waiting for 5 minutes till you eat a different type of food for the sake of food combining. And then what occurred to me is that, when you're fasting from something, you have to be with yourself and notice how you are, because one of the reasons that people eat dysfunctionally is to make themselves feel good. And you have to be willing to be with whatever was there in place of what was going to give you the pacifier.
That's
and then
right.
When that happens, you always come out better. Like either you make a discovery or you find that you can do it or something like that. And that's a very important thing that happens with people who have problems controlling their weight, is learning that type of control.
Yes. Well, what do you think? Like, let's say a person is losing weight. They've committed. They want to lose weight. So what they do is they go out to eat with other people almost every night in these really fancy restaurants, and that's caused them to put on weight. And suppose this person decides that when he goes to a restaurant, he's going to do a 5-minute fast. He's just not going to eat when the other people start. He's going to time 5 minutes while they're eating, and he's going to sit there and watch them eat and not eat anything. What effect do you think that will have on his weight?
I can see that affecting his entire rhythm.
So rhythm is a huge factor in controlling metabolism. Do you think his metabolism is changing while he's sitting there not eating?
Yes, absolutely, and I test yes.
What about you, Ross? What do you think?
I test the same. I test yes.
Okay, Ron, you test.
Yes, I test the same. I just wanted to add one thing, if I could, as far as the way we eat. I know, it's so fast most of the time. And when I was little, my grandmother said, "Now listen, chew each mouthful 28 times." And there's something to that. Basically, it's eating consciously. If you can just concentrate on the actual food when you're eating it and really breaking it down, you can just be aware of it, and I think that will slow you down. That will help in your breaking it down and in your elimination ultimately.
The first intentional fast I ever did was the macrobiotic brown rice fast, and one of the components of it was you had to chew each mouthful of rice 40 times.
That's rhythm.
Yeah.
Right. It's the equivalent of sitting there and not eating.
Right.
That's right. Chewing a mouthful of plain brown rice 40 times would drive a lot of people crazy. So what we're saying to the person watching this is, in order to what we're trying to train you to do, you are our Prince of New England, is we want you to change. We're trying to train you to change, to become a different person. What do you think about that, Ross?
Well, I think if you can change your rhythm, a lot of other things in your life change accordingly.
Like your attitude?
In better.
Maybe your attitude?
Yes. Yes. If you slow down, for example, while you're eating, you can be less stressed in your life because you slow down everything else.
You know, one of the things that I'm starting to, I don't think I've emphasized this enough, like when I've been supporting Franny and, changing the way she does things so that she can be healthier, is that I really need to focus on her slowing her speed when she eats.
No, she needs to focus on her speed when she eats.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thank you.
That brings up what you wanted us to think about, before we did this call, which is, helping other people to lose weight and the caretaking and the dysfunctionality and what's worked and things like that. And I did think about it quite a bit.
Well, because I want to ask all of you a question. Have you ever helped somebody or tried to help somebody lose weight? And I asked this of Keely yesterday, and she was thinking about it. So why don't you tell us your horror stories, Keely?
The first thing I thought of was all I could think of were all the times it didn't work, like all the disasters, and the fights I had with people and people resenting me and not talking to me. Like one of my sisters refused to talk to me for several months because whenever we talked on the phone, I would ask her how she was doing with her weight, and I would offer her, I would be helpful and tell her about set points and things like that, and she hated it. And for a while, she didn't want to talk to me.
What happened then?
Then she went and did a weight loss diet with two of our cousins, and she was successful. But it was a while after that, it took several months after that till she started that.
And did the weight stay off?
She's reached a certain point, but I don't know if I think she's been having trouble with it lately. It's not the kind of diet that you can stay on for the rest of your life, so.
Well, see, that's the thing. What we're doing with people here is we're showing them how to control their metabolism for the rest of their lives.
Right.
And we're not advocating any particular diet.
Right.
We're just advocating controlling their weight.
All the diets that I did, what they really served to do is teach me how food affects me so that I can, at any given point, I can control my metabolism by calling on all the things that I've learned over the 30 or 40 years that I've been, experimenting.
Yes.
So I know what it means to be on high protein for a while, and I know what effect carbs have on me, and I know what effect fasting has on me, and different types of exercise and different times of exercise and all that. So that now I feel a certain mastery and ability in controlling those things. And I think that's what we're all experiencing, to whatever degree we have that.
Yeah, and we also know that, see, what I did yesterday for lunch, I had raw steak and raw vegetables. I got this great thing I do with steak. I buy good beef that has no fat, a big chunk of it, and I put it in the food processor and grind it up. I turn it into mush, and then I eat it. I don't cook it.
I couldn't do that.
I concur.
Well, one thing about grinding it up is because our intestines are so long, and the animals that were designed to ingest meat or other animals, they have very short digestive tracts, and
That's
our
right.
digestive tracts are very long,
That's right.
which are not ideal for digesting meat. But when you grind it up, it makes it more digestible.
Mm-hmm. Ross, what do you have to say?
Well, the only time I tried to help someone to lose weight, it was many years ago, and I didn't know about IMMUNICS at the time. So I tried to help this lady using EFT. First of all, I told her to imagine herself going into a shop and seeing something she liked and she wanted to buy, and to take that item of clothing and look at the tag of the size and imagine seeing that it was at least 2 sizes lower than what she usually wore.
Mm-hmm.
And then I told her to go to the changing rooms and try it on and see it was still large. And so she had to ask the shop assistant for a lower size. And she was very happy with that. And then I tried something else and I told her, now imagine a big salami in front of you and you're cutting a few slices and they are in front of you, yes? Do you see them? Yes, yes, she told me, yes. Okay, now we are going to tap together to try to stop your desperate need of eating that salami. And she refused to do it. And so I asked her, do you really want to lose weight? Yes, but I want to eat salami. And so, I mean, it was hopeless. And I couldn't do anything. She really refused, you know, she had a very strong refusal.
Well, I wanted to tell you that I have spent the last 40 years on a salami fast. I don't eat salami. I have not eaten salami for 40 years.
Yeah.
Or any kind of processed meat. I don't eat processed meat, which I used to eat all the time. My mother raised me on processed meat, and I stopped eating it. You know, it has all that hard fat in it, you know. And that hard fat goes into your body, you know, and cushions you. So I stopped eating that long ago. There are many things that I have abstained from and many things that I have supplemented. But certainly, you know, to not cook meat, like I don't cook meat generally. And to do that has been, that's, what would you say that is? Rhythm, elimination? Is it?
I would say it's fasting.
It's fasting from having cooked meat.
And whatever, you know, components you're not putting into yourself by not cooking it.
Yeah. Well, somebody once said that cooking something is basically oxidizing it. It's oxidation. Cooking is oxidation.
Plus, you know, raw meat has enzymes in it, and that's why the animals that eat meat, you know, dogs don't do well on dog food because dogs were supposed to eat raw meat.
Yeah, dogs don't cook their meat if they can help it.
Right. So you're getting the enzymes that the meat has when you're not cooking it.
Right. That's right. Uncooked meat is full of enzymes. So see, what the person listening to this needs to know is that their major weapon is fasting. This is like, fasting is the tip weapon for control of metabolism. The quintessential way to control metabolism is to stop eating. Don't eat anything.
Ron was talking
at
about
all.
not eating after 8 o'clock. That's a fast.
That's a type of fasting. That's right. That was
I knew a girl in high school who decided to stop eating after 5 p.m. and she lost all her weight that way. She said she didn't change anything else. Marcy Gold, and she was totally successful.
Mm-hmm. She just stopped eating after 5.
Right, period. And it's kind of easy, you know, when you make a decision like that. It's much easier than having to decide what to eat after 5. You make good decisions. It's just easier to stop all the decision points.
Pretty simple.
Well, years ago, a guy, I was living in the East Village in 1969. Guy came to our house, to our apartment, and he sat down and he was talking about macrobiotics, which was the diet at the time. Everybody was getting into macrobiotics in the 1960s. You know, well, Shaw was still alive then, the founder. He was a great man. And anyway, this guy, I don't remember his name or anything, but he sat down and he just started talking excitedly about macrobiotics. That's what people did in the East Village in New York. They went over to people's apartments and talked, you know, about whatever the thing to talk about was.
Right.
And that's how you picked up girls, you know, in those days. So he was talking, and one of the things he said is that during the night when you're sleeping, you eliminate, and this is the rhythm. See, rhythm determines elimination. These 4 things are not separate; they are one thing. They're metabolism. So when you go into the right rhythm, you're eliminating in a way that you don't eliminate when you're in the wrong rhythm. Like, see, if Franny allows her rhythm to be disrupted, then she will not eliminate properly. So he said that you're eliminating, and if you just, in the morning, if you just don't eat anything, don't, you know, everybody says you should eat a good breakfast. He said, no, don't eat a good breakfast. He said, don't eat anything for as long as you can. Go until the late afternoon if you can. And just try to keep eliminating. And your body will naturally select the toxins it needs to expel and get rid of them. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, I think that would work for somebody like Franny who has a lot of weight to lose, you know, but in the end what would happen is her rhythm would eventually develop so that she got on a more normal cycle, and she was eliminating at night, you know, at like after 6 o'clock is when you're supposed to start eliminating.
Right.
And she would eliminate from 6 o'clock at night to 6 o'clock in the morning so that when she woke up, she could exercise and then have some, you know, have a good, healthy breakfast that would, you know, plus there are certain foods that work better in the morning, you know, afternoon and night. There's that whole school of, you know, Ayurvedic medicine that teaches you about sattvic and rajasic and tamasic foods, and that's another whole thing with rhythm, is learning what to eat when.
Yes.
So she would normalize, and she would, you know, in the long run, she probably would end up, you know, not having to wait until late afternoon to eat, but she would, you know, not eat when she's sleeping.
People think that diet is that food combining is about diet. Like, everybody knows you can't combine certain foods. Everybody knows that.
Not everybody.
Yes, they're not going to eat, you know, people just aren't going to eat certain things with other things. You know, certain things, no. I mean, I can't think of anything in particular, but like...
I mean, you're talking about fried eggs and chocolate sauce, but I mean, some people don't know that you don't mix, you know, protein with certain fruits, or you don't mix, you know, there are certain things that just are not good together. They interfere with each other's absorption.
Plus, if you watch the Iron Chefs, you'll see them putting chocolate sauce on fried eggs. But
it's true.
But you know, but not pickles and, you know, ice cream. People know not to eat pickles with ice cream and stuff like that. But what they don't realize is that food combining is very important, and food combining is not about diet, it's about rhythm.
Yeah.
It's a rhythm thing. And you're talking about the Ayurvedic, you know, approach to eating these things in the morning, and these things, you know, in the middle of the day, and these things in the evening, and so on. And that's very important too in food philosophy. And see, also, you're right, like, you're a very big breakfast person.
Yeah.
Like because you really try, like, you probably try not to eat anything after 5 o'clock, right?
Well, I'm very bad at it. I've been very bad at it lately. I've always been very bad at not eating at night, and I know it's good to do that, and I've always had a problem with that,
so-
and I need to really work on that.
So when you eat at night, do you wake up ready for breakfast bright and early?
Yep.
So somehow you've
I can always eat breakfast.
reset your rhythm so that you can eat at night, but you also seem to eliminate pretty good, and you
Yeah,
wake
and also
up.
I won't eat in the morning before I exercise and before I've done my yoga, so.
So you never eat before you exercise and do yoga. And,
Yeah. Sometimes I eat before exercising, but I will never eat before yoga.
well, see,
And I do yoga every morning.
see, that's another thing. What exercise is obviously a form of elimination.
Yeah,
And
definitely. I had such a big realization. I was reading a book, and in a book there was a character who was talking about discovering that exercise was not about staying fit; it was about eliminating toxins. And that I just like kind of woke up when I read that, and I
Yes,
just started approaching exercise completely differently.
yes, because see, people always talk about burning calories, but what they don't realize is they're also burning lead, cadmium, mercury. Things that are locked in their cells are coming out and being eliminated.
Right.
What do you guys have to say about any of this stuff? If anything.
Well, what I was thinking, it's hard because we have schedules and things, but what I was thinking was if we can, when possible, eat, just really eat when you're hungry, not by the clock, because we're so used to schedules and breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But in an ideal world, we just eat when we're hungry.
Yeah.
And that's difficult, I think, in the long, overall. But I think when possible, if you can just do that, say, hey, I'm not really hungry at 8 a.m. when I normally eat breakfast. So just pass on it.
Funny you
It's funny because I remember watching one expert probably on PBS, and he was saying that one of the components of a successful diet is that you have to allow yourself to get hungry and be willing to experience that. Because I know that I very rarely get hungry because I eat like all day long. But I know that getting hungry always feels good when I let myself get there. It's like, it just feels powerful.
Yeah.
Well, back to Ron, like kind of an interesting aside on this is I've been eating a pretty big dinner every night at 10 o'clock. No, really, and I'm skinny.
You are, yeah.
And I'm not putting on weight. How can this be? See, people are always trying to make rules. And you need rules, but the rules have to work with the other rules you made.
Right.
So you have to make the whole set of rules.
Right.
You can't be looking to somebody else to make some of your rules. And this is why we're telling people we're not advocating anything in particular.
And that's why testing is so important, and why we teach people testing, and why it's the basis of everything in our web college.
Yes. What we're advocating is you be in control. And it seems like what I've got here is I'm videoing people who have a degree of control. So your degree of control is high enough to keep you at the weight you want to be at. Like we've been successful for years. Like Ron, you did your weight thing and kept it off.
Yes.
And so have the rest of us. And Ross, what do you have to say?
Well, I'm not a breakfast person. I've never been. And as I told you before, once I used to have breakfast with a cup of black coffee, black Italian coffee, which is stronger than American coffee, and a cigarette. And now I don't do that anymore. And I think that having meals at a specific time is also a habit. For example, we always have lunch at 12:30. It's not my choice, but my husband wants to eat exactly at that time. And I know that in the evening, sometimes it's at 6 in the afternoon. 6 p.m. and I'm not with him at that time because I'm at work. Usually,
Right.
I skip dinner because I come home late and it's too late to eat and then I go to bed. You
Right.
know?
That's right.
So usually I fast from dinner.
So, okay, so that's your approach. That works for you and with your
And
job.
also, I read recently, I've been reading in a couple of different books, people have been saying the same thing, that for some people or at some point, you know, having a regular time to eat is very important and works for certain reasons.
My husband would go crazy if he didn't eat at his specific time, you know. He can get
That was the
dangerous.
reason they were talking about. But yeah.
Is your husband disappointed when you don't eat the food he cooks?
Yes.
Because he wants to cook for you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because usually he cooks and I make him a lot of compliments. You know, like, wow, this pasta looks beautiful. I bet it tastes even better, you know, and he's very happy. And I had proof of this just at lunch today because I read something about emphysema and diet. So I told him, look, Robbie, I want to have this diet. I want to give it a try. So practically, I'm not having sugar or substances that can transform into sugar and grains. And he looked really disappointed. And he told me, so you are not going to eat pasta? And I said, no. Ah, okay. And he didn't tell me, no, you can't do that or anything like that. He sort of accepted it, but I could see he was really disappointed. And he was even looking sad.
Aww.
And I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Well, you
I
see,
want to give my lungs a chance.
well, you see, this is the diet, the emotional diet. You see, there's something over and above all of the things that control metabolism, these four things. The thing that's over and above them is spiritual health.
Right.
And if your spiritual health is weak and you cannot handle making your husband unhappy when you don't eat what he cooks, then you're going to be a fat person and very unhealthy, and you're going to end up making him really unhappy when you die of some disease that you didn't have to die of.
No, I'm going to make him unhappy.
You're going to make him a little unhappy now so he can be happier later because he has you around for longer, right?
Sure.
But you see, you're finding ways to manage it. Like, I like what you said about telling him how much you appreciate it and how beautiful it looks, because that and you know, that's something that's a giving thing, and you know, because he does want it, he wants to give to you. You know, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, which I appreciate. I'm sure.
So that was a long time ago.
Oh, yes. And it was also thanks to your advice. I really, really appreciated it. You were very nice to me and to my cat. And I think Musetta is very grateful to you.
Oh, thank you for saying that. I really...
It's true. It's simply true.
Yeah.
I think I still have your email because I printed it.
Wow.
And yes, because I was very grateful.
Wow, thank you. Thank you.
It mattered. It really mattered.
I'm glad.
Well, it's nice to hear somebody out there is grateful. I mean, Keely has helped so many people who never even thanked her. You know, it's
No,
real,
that's not bad.
because Keely helps people every day. People write to Keely every day about, like, they need this or that, you know, with you know, they can't test or they can't get a signal, or that how do I cure my you know, acne or whatever it is, you know. And Keely's always writing to them and writes them detailed emails.
Yeah, I get phone calls too.
And you know, it's just nice to hear somebody say thank you.
I think it's very important to be grateful.
Well, it's important
It's
to
a
all
question
those.
of taking and giving.
It's important to all those other people who need her help because you're encouraging her to help them.
Yes.
Well, so what do you have to say about how spiritual health affects your ability to control your metabolism?
Well, it's funny because the first thing I thought of was back to helping other people. And I was thinking of how I was spiritually when I tried to help somebody and it didn't work, and how I was when it did work. Because like the times that I've suggested grape fasting to people, I remember just being very light about it and not being in any place or trying to change them or help them or anything. And that's a spiritual, I was in a different spiritual place than when I was on the phone with my sister, like haranguing her about how she's doing and all that.
Okay. Well, Franny has been trying to help me do better with coaching her with her weight, and she is really helping me.
So what has she told you?
Well, not to harangue, which is what you were just talking about. It. You just reminded me of it, And also, she hasn't said this, but she's implied it, that if I don't feel like helping her, I shouldn't. I should only do it at the times when I feel like it. And
not when you think you should.
When I'm really relaxed with it, that's right.
Yeah.
Like not to try necessarily to catch her messing up, but just to be when I feel like helping her, then to just move it onto that,
Yeah, because then you're not caretaking.
Yeah, and also, like, it's much easier for me to be spiritually healthy that way.
Yeah.
It's not spiritually healthy to overextend ourselves.
Right.
Like, don't help people if you don't have time. Don't help anybody if you don't have time to help them. Like, if you just got to be helping yourself, just do that.
Right.
So what else? What do you guys have to say about spiritual health affecting how you control your metabolism?
It's funny because I remember when I was doing that 1 day a week fast, when I was fasting every Sunday on water, when I was young in my 20s, and it was a spiritual day for me. That's what got me through it, because I liked feeling that way.
Well, so the interesting thing is that if we simply eliminate eating anything, one of the things that balances is our spiritual self.
Well, whenever you're going to make any choice that, life-changing choice, whether it's weight or anything like that, I think if you look to your higher power, to God, or how you relate to your spirit, I think that's so helpful to get you, get you jump started, because you're asking for assistance, that you really need, because
That's
just to do
true. That's so true.
It's tough to do something, life-changing without knowing that you've got someone, your higher power in your corner, which is there all the time. It's just you really need to go to it and just really trust that it's there.
Point. That is such a good point. Because you need something to take the place of what you're eliminating sometimes. It just helps.
So
yeah, it's better to replace, let's say, cigarettes with God than cigarettes with heroin.
I thought heroin was God.
Yeah, so there's been times when things I needed to change, and I just really asked for help, and I've been really fortunate to get it. So that's not to make light or fun of it. It's just really that just happens to be true for me.
Yeah, me too.
Well, what I've noticed when people are fasting is it's easier to work with them in any way, shape, or form. What about you, Ross? How does the spiritual affect the metabolism?
Maybe I was just thinking, maybe fasting makes your energy different, more spiritual,
Yes.
lighter, you know.
Yes, lighter.
Have you ever actually fasted on water all day?
Many years ago, I fasted. I don't remember how long. Maybe 2 days. No, one day. Just on bread and water, and I was so hungry that I was waiting for midnight to end it and eat something. So I've never been a good faster, but now I have decided to give up bread, sugar, grains, because it seems that sugar, especially sugar, feeds some pathogens left in people's lungs by smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want to eliminate, even if you stop smoking, okay, so if they don't have anything to feed on, they will leave. And I'm also removing them immunically.
Yes, okay.
I've also found that I feel completely different spiritually when I'm not eating meat and animal products.
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah.
just, I have more insights. I expand more. My functions are better. My dreams are better. My thoughts are better.
So you're saying that you feel like better spiritually when you don't grind up the bodies of animals in a food processor.
Or eat them without grinding them up.
Just by tearing off chunks and chewing them.
Yeah.
It's more.
I'm sucking the scrumptious, succulent pieces off the bones.
You feel more spiritual when you don't do that. Okay. Oh God.
I slow down in a negative way. There's a good way of slowing down, and then there's a sluggishness that comes to me when I'm, and it's very, very subtle. And nobody would look at me and say you look or seem sluggish, but I know when I feel that way, and usually when I'm that way, I've been eating, more animal fat or animal products than usual, more dairy or whatever.
Right. Well, okay. The idea, one of the things that you were trying to touch on this before, Keely, and Ron was too, and I'm just going to get into it a little bit before we stop. One of the things that we're trying to help the person do is eliminate spiritual problems such as immune dysfunctions, such as laziness or lying to themselves, and
Or compulsiveness, compulsions.
or compulsiveness, and that yes. Here's an example. Speaking of compulsiveness, everybody here tests. Do I have any compulsions?
I don't even have to test.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All we're going to do is a simple thing. I'm now removing. The person watching should do this. I am now removing all compulsions from all my bodies. And when your finger moves, you've done that. And just let's say when you get yes.
I'm
Yeah.
still doing it. So
Yes.
I could probably, my finger could probably move all day with the amount of compulsions that I have. Okay.
Does anybody feel any different?
I feel lighter.
I feel like smiling.
Yeah.
And you are smiling.
I feel like I'm in an emptier place.
Okay. This is what we'll end with today. Is this emptier place. This will be the end of our movie. And I want to thank all of you for helping people cure things in this movie.
This was great.
Yeah, this is really good.
Yeah, I really appreciate you, Ron. Thanks for coming.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was so happy to be here with you guys. This was fun.
Really contributed a lot.
Thank you.
Made a whole difference in how it feels too. Really, your energy is fantastic.
Thanks.